Welcome to the Zach Ratliff Show. Here he comes.
Hello and welcome to the Zach Ratliff Show. I'm Zach. That was my daughter. She's amazing. Also, she claims to be my manager. So there we go. She's been managing, making things happen. Anyway, it's the Tuesday after Memorial Day. I hope you all had a good Memorial Day weekend and remembered what it was about. And that's all the people that died for us to have the freedoms that we have. So there's that. I'd like to welcome on board our new sponsor, Mortgage Financial Services here in Texarkana. That's Cody Lawrence and his group. And so thank them for being a sponsor. Thanks to Elmwood Custom Goods for being a sponsor. They even created this sign for us, and it's amazing. And so I'd like to thank them, and you can check their website out. I've got a link to that on the Zach Ratliff Show Facebook page. And so that's there. And then, of course, thanks to Church on the Rock and for them being a sponsor. And it's churchontherock.org. And, you know, what Steve Oglesby always say. I can't remember what he's got. He's got a quippy saying to. Anyway, I want to start with something that is not local and is local all at the same time. CVS is going to close all 23 pharmacy locations in Arkansas. That includes, there's one on State Line in Texarkana. If this article is correct, it would include that one because that's Arkansas. That's due to Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signing into law House Bill 1150, which ends the conflict of interest of pharmacy benefits managers owning the pharmacies, which I didn't know anything about this, honestly, and I still don't know enough to know what I don't know. I only know enough to be dangerous, but here's the way I can conclude what it was, and that is the owners controlled the prices, which controlled how much profit they were making, which was running up the cost of goods for the prescriptions. And so Sarah Huckabee Sanders and the Arkansas legislature said, hey, we're not going to do that anymore. You're going to have reasonable prices based on the market. Not anyway. So, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Because I'm a free market person, I don't. Once said, I'm going to research this more, but it was something that I just wanted to bring up right off the bat today. Is hey, these CVSs are going to close. That's going to affect my area directly. And if you're in Arkansas watching this, which quite a few of you are, according to the statistics for the show, it's going to affect your area as well. So we need to be looking into this, making sure this is the right reasons. I don't like government intervention, and we're so overregulated that it's hard to know the unintended outcomes, the unintended consequences of the things that they, that they're going to happen. So there we go. All right, let's start. I'm just going to work backwards through these articles because there's so many over the weekend. I'll work backwards, so it'll be the most recent to the farthest out, and we'll just kind of get through them and see what all we've got going. Number one, X.com, Alex Jones, at Real Alex Jones. Massachusetts officially moves to ban cars and implement 15-minute cities. Now, that hasn't passed yet, but they don't. Here's the deal. The rulers, the parties that be, the powers that be, the ruling parties, the elite, they don't want us to be mobile. They don't want us to have the internet to be able to think for ourselves. They don't want us to be able to communicate and spread information. They certainly don't like the fact that we can travel across the country if we want to. Remember when Obama said, well, if there's $8 a gallon gas, that's just what it is. It's not about the environment. It's about control. Everything is about control. Have no doubt they want to control everything in our lives. All the time. That's what they want to do. And that's what they're doing. So, anyway, Massachusetts first to announce that. And let's see. Well, of course, that post has been taken down. So, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't right. But anyway, that was an Alex Jones post on X. We'll have to keep looking into that and see what's happening there. Okay, here's something interesting, too. This is from the Wall Street Apes on X.com. New study, the Cleveland Clinic found that the influenza vaccine was not effective last winter. Now, I texted a friend who went to medical school and all the things about this, and he said, "Yeah, last winter it wasn't." But they throw so many variants. They try to get the variants right. It said it had a negative efficacy of 26, almost 27%. In other words, if you took the flu vaccine last year, you were 26% more likely to get the flu. So it had negative effects. It did the opposite of what it was intended to do. And look, I understand some of you get it. Some of you are for it. I'm neutral on the subject. I don't get the flu vaccine. I also never had the flu. Well, actually, I did have the flu a couple years ago. But it just isn't something that's affected me into a way that makes me worry about it. So there you go. All right, we're going to move on. Let's see. Oh, this is awesome. Tim Burchett. Now, if you're not following Tim Burchett in the U.S. Senator or Representative, you need to be. He is announcing legislation to codify Trump's agenda to the budget cuts through Doge and all this. That's what we need. Donald Trump, they're catching so much heck right now because the Republicans didn't put any Doge cuts into the big, beautiful bill, which we understand that's to get everything done and then we can go back and cut. And I'm not a big spend guy. I'm not this is what we have to do type of a guy. But we need to pass the bill, I believe, and then we can go back and institute cuts that are more than just, we save so much money in theory in the next 10 years. We need to save money tomorrow. So anyway, Tim Burchett's trying to make that happen. I'm good with it. I hope it goes through. And so, and this is even what Elon Musk says about it, according to Eric Doherty on X.com. Elon Musk said, hey, I did what I could. If they don't take action, that's on them. So it's either we make these cuts and the economy grows, or we need this economy to take off in such a way that we can make up for not cutting anything. And history has shown that we won't do that. So there's that. Let's see. And I don't think it's good. Look, Elon Musk goes back to doing what he's doing. He showed us all the ways to save money. He showed us all the ways that we need to make it happen. And then we just ignore him. Because the government's not used to answering to us. The government's not used to doing what we want them to do. They're used to being their own rulers and just demanding what we do, stealing our money through taxation. So, there you go. Now, here's what's terrifying. Here's an article that's terrifying from, let's see. It looks like it's Le Monde in France, okay? Le Monde, LEMONDE.fr. Germany's MERS says Western allies will no longer impose range limits on Ukrainian weapons. The only reason the Ukraine hasn't been shooting missiles far into Russia is because the NATO hasn't been allowing it. Donald Trump is trying to get peace. NATO is doing everything they can to stop this. NATO is doing everything they can to work against our president. So much so that now they're like, hey, just shoot rockets off into Russia. They want a World War III so bad, just so Donald Trump can't reset us and get us on strong footing. We have war hawks in power in every facet of the world leadership. And Donald Trump's the one guy's like, hey, we don't need more war. Everybody else is pushing for it. And I just don't understand it at all. Here's another article on overregulation that I found interesting. Reason.com. If you go to Reason.com, come July, keys will be de facto illegal in Minnesota. Just house keys. Why? Because they're going to have too much copper. So the regulatory industry of government has gotten so overwhelming that you won't be able to lock your house in Minnesota. They won't be able to sell any keys. This is crazy. The government overreach never stops. This is why we have to get control of our government. This is why we have... Well, you can't have keys now because it's bad for the environment? China's producing a coal plant, a week or a month or something like that over there? And yet we're worried about the keys? We need to get it in order. It's just amazing. And then you go, if you talk about it, it's also a problem. Open source intel on X.com A London man gets arrested for speaking out, being pro-Israel on the street. Free speech is dead in the UK. It is dying here. We have to stand up. We have to speak for what is right. We have to speak for what we're supposed to say. That's our First Amendment right, and it's backed up by our Second Amendment right. We can't be afraid to speak. No matter the hate mail we get, no matter the comments we get, no matter what people say about us, we cannot be afraid. You know, in Ephesians 6, it says, be bold and speak the truth. That's a paraphrase. But, you know, be bold and speak. In the Bible, the tongue, the word, is our sword. That's what we fight with. So, okay, here's a win from DNYUZ.com. DNYUZ.com. Texas is closer to putting the 10 Commandments in every classroom. Now, I'm for this. I want the 10 Commandments seen. I want it starting a conversation. I'm good with it. But here's what I'm afraid of. First of all, good job, Texas. Don't be afraid to recognize that we serve God, the one, the only Yahweh. All right? Jesus Christ is our Lord. We can't be afraid of that. However, our Texas legislature, not that this isn't important, but the Texas legislature, which is quote-unquote Republican ran, has carried zero of the Republican and of the conservative principles to the legislature this year. They haven't gotten anything a conservative wants done. They will use this to hang their hat on to tell us how conservative they were and how hard they worked for the people. Yeah, this is important. However, so is not having the Marvin Nichols Reservoir taking all of our water. However, so is strengthening our electric grid. So is securing our border. So is cutting property taxes. So is making it where citizens from foreign countries can't have access. Oh, well, we passed that. Yeah, you're working on it with an amendment saying unless you're here on a visa. All the things that are really important, they're not going to do. But, oh, we got the 10 Commandments back in, so we're real conservative. We love you. It's all a charade, everybody. And here's why it's so good that we have the internet. Here's why it's so good that we have all these platforms, because we can share these things. And we can talk. And look, if I'm wrong, that's fine. I'll come on here and admit that I'm wrong. I may be. But, you know, I'm just going off the sources that I quote here. Let's see. This is from Wall Street Apes on X.com. Former Deputy Border Patrol did a DHS search on Democrat Delia Ramirez, and she's an illegal alien. This is why the Democrats aren't against it. This woman, Delia Ramirez, is an illegal. Her mother was an illegal. Her husband is an illegal. The majority of all her family members are illegals, and yet she's a U.S. representative. How does this happen? We've given our country away, just like Rome did to the Gauls. Everybody wanted to be Roman so bad they lost Rome because they didn't make anyone assimilate. That's where we are. That's what's happening. We have to stand up for our country. We have to stand up for our children's country. We have to do what's right. We have to stick to the Constitution. We have to pray to God that He saved this country. We are still the greatest country in the world. And if we continue to serve God, we will stay that way. Doesn't mean everything's right. Doesn't mean everything's hunky-dory and no problems. But it means we have to be willing to fight the fight. Here's something that I found interesting when I was searching through the weekend. C3 on X.com. The most dangerous cities in the U.S. and the last time they had a Republican mayor. The number one most dangerous city, Memphis, Tennessee. When's the last time they had a Republican mayor? 1971. St. Louis, 1949, last Republican. Detroit, 1962. Baltimore, 1967. Birmingham, 1975. Cleveland, hey, not too bad, 1989. Little Rock, 1955. New Orleans, 1872. Kansas City, 1991. Albuquerque, 2017. Everything the Democrats touch goes wrong. We have to stop believing it. We have to stop being lied to. We have to talk about it on here and all the other shows you listen to, and we have to talk about it with our friends that think, people don't call us conspiracy theorists as much anymore as just saying, I'm just tired of talking about it. Yeah, because the facts are on our side. We don't have to beat them over the head with it. It's like people knowing you're a Christian, right? You don't have to just beat them over the head with the Bible, but they need to be able to see it, and they need to be able to see the effects of it. That's all. It's just, we have to talk about it. So, anyway. Let's see what else we've got here. Here's this. Democrats always talking about us. William Braddock was just sentenced to 3 years in federal prison for plotting to assassinate Congresswoman Anna Paulina. And after he ran against her, and the polls said that she was winning, he then said if she won, he'd hire a hit squad. How crazy is that? And then there's some other ties in there that I don't know that are all legitimate. But he's, going to assassinate a congresswoman. That's crazy. That's crazy where the world has gotten. As an update, Musk says that he's already stepped out. Now, here's something from Mila Joy on X.com, talking about the big, beautiful bill. South Carolina, Trump won by 20 points. Kentucky, Trump won by 31 points. Both Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham are saying they will not support the big, beautiful bill in the Senate. We knew Mitch McConnell wasn't. He's still mad that Trump won again. He's a commie. His wife's a commie. Her sister was a commie. We knew they were commies. My opinion. But I'm the world's foremost authority on my opinion. But Lindsey Graham better get in line. We need to primary all these people. Now, do I think Trump's perfect? No. I say that all the time. The only person to ever be perfect came to this earth 2,000 years ago, and he was murdered because no one liked the fact that he was perfect. Luckily, he was God, and he got up so that he could save all of us. So, no, I don't think Trump's perfect. However, I agree with him on a lot of the philosophies and principles that we need to be dealing with here. All right, let's move forward. Oh, now I haven't seen this reported anywhere else, so we'll see if this turns out to be true. Over the weekend, there was a report that the Ukraine tried to assassinate Putin, and then Putin retaliated, and Trump was mad at Putin. We'll see. I don't know how factual that is, but it's worth talking about for sure. So there's that. Let's see what else we've got. We need to keep our eye on that. Have you heard that the Republicans are wanting to cut Medicaid? Well, that's not exactly right. At Rapid Response 47 on X.com, Speaker Johnson, when he was on CNN, goes on to say, hey, look, there are 1.4 million illegals on Medicaid. There are 4.8 million able-bodied individuals on Medicaid who choose not to work. We're not supporting them. That's exactly right. Go get a job. Go pay for your own stuff. Go back to your own country. Don't depend on us. Now, if you come here the right way and you get your paperwork and you do your things, hey, do what you need to do. But don't be on Medicaid just so I have to pay your medical bills. Nobody had to pay for my daughter's medical bill when she went to the ER because she had such a high fever and flu last year. I got that $10,000 bill. And nobody coming to the rescue on that. So I don't feel bad for you. Go pay your bills. Ron Johnson is also a no on X.com, and he said we need to return to pre-pandemic levels of spending. I agree, we do. But we have to start somewhere. That's the problem with Republicans. They always want everything perfect. We need this, we need that. We need everything perfect. Well, let's start somewhere. Let's don't just, it's like, oh, we're only 80% accurate, so we're not going to do anything. So what? We're going to throw everything away over 20%? We have to move forward. I don't understand the way these people think. So there's that. Let's see. Oh, this is on the well, it isn't worth getting into. It just shows that Democrats are always associated with the wrong people. Donald Trump signs a new executive order expanding uranium mining, allowing for nuclear power plants to be built on federal land. cutting the red tape. That's what we need. If you want power, you want energy, and you want it in a clean and efficient way, we need nuke power. It's just that simple. Now, yes, there are some worries there, but we can move forward. Tim Burchett, another article on Real Robert on X. Tim Burchett confirms that Biden staffers were taking payoffs in exchange for pardons. Who would have thought? The Biden crime family getting paid for all the pardons. We knew that that's right. You knew it in your soul. If you didn't, now you do. It's amazing. But yeah, so Tim Burchett has claimed that. And I don't know him to be a liar from all that I've seen. So, Trump confirmed on those nuclear reactors that there will be at least 3 reactors online this year. This is what we need. Once again, this is where we are. This is what we need. So let's see here's kind of the points on it. This is from Eric Daugherty on X.com. Scale back regulations on nuclear energy, quadruple the U.S. nuclear power over the next 2 decades. Well, that's 20 years, so we better get rolling. Pilot program for the 3 reactors by July 4th, 2026, so in the next year. Invoke Defense Production Act. That way you can get past all the regulations and red tape. Hey, I'm with it. Let's go. Let's do it. Here's an article that there's a picture of Brett Baier on Fox News. It's from Josh Dunlap, so I don't know if they run together or not. It says the FBI and DOJ were ordered by Barack Obama not to arrest Hillary Clinton for espionage in violation of U.S. Code of 18 U.S. Code 793. That's crazy. We knew it happened. Let's see how much of that gets reported, if any. I don't believe there will be much. Okay, that's the update. That's the main articles that hit. So anyway, once again, I just want to say thank you to Mortgage Financial Services here in Texarkana, and thank you to Elmwood Custom Goods. You can look their website up. If you see that they're an Ohio company, they are, and we thank you for that. And thank you to Church on the Rock. That's churchontherock.org. And we'll be back. We'll do it all again tomorrow. And you all have a good day. I hope God blesses each and every one of you.